Hello. Hi. Why is this always so weird? Um, Welcome to Balancedskein. My name is Kendra, and this is my YouTube channel where I talk about all the things I make with yarn and other yarny related topics. Today's video, we're going to just talk through all the projects that I've worked on since I last recorded. But before we jump into that, I wanted to give you a little bit of insight on some things that are going to change around here. So for one, when I started this channel and this video series of Month of Makes, I set out with a goal of recording a video every month, and I have failed pretty much since then. And I decided to take the pressure off myself on, maintaining that once a month schedule, and instead say, I'm going to record and upload when I have the time and the energy, and we'll just go from there. So maybe you'll see a video from me more frequently, or you'll see a video from me less frequently, but I'm not going anywhere. Life has just been a little bit busy and stressful lately, and the thought of picking up a camera and recording and editing just really seemed a bit above my abilities until today. So I'm excited to be coming to you with a video today. I hope everyone has been well. Yeah, that's really it. As I'm rethinking my whole schedule and my commitments as it relates to this channel, I've decided to just name the series I Made Some Stuff, because that's really what we're going to talk about. We're talking about the stuff I made, and this will be installment 1. So welcome. I've been pretty busy since I last recorded. Work has been pretty crazy for a number of reasons that I'm not even going to get into because it's not interesting. You're not here to hear that. But I have been around. I have been knitting. I've been crocheting. I've been pretty active on Instagram. So if you don't follow me there and you want to see more from me and real-time project updates, that is where you will find me most of the time. But since I've been away, yeah, I've had a lot of time to think about what I want to do with this channel, and one of them was just taking out the expectation of the once a month videos. The other thing was like coming up with ideas of different types of videos to make and different things I want to do with this channel, this platform, Instagram, etc. There may be a make along in our future, so stay tuned for that. Otherwise, it's been pretty quiet. So let's jump into the projects that I've worked on since I've been gone. So let's see where to start. I'll start here. I made a shawl, my first ever shawl. This was a whip in the last video I recorded, so you may recall me talking a little bit about the Ppo Ppo Shawl by Sunny of Noodly Knits. It is a one skein project, so I had one skein of fingering weight yarn that I didn't really know what to do with. It was a single ply, well, it wasn't plied, merino yarn. This is what I have left. So this yarn is from Chameleon Hand Dyed Yarns. You can find her find them at Coffee Bean Knits on Instagram. She's really nice, and I actually won this yarn from a giveaway from Michael of Piece for Piece Crafting. And I think I've got a little bit into this in my last video, but basically I wasn't sure what to do with it, with a single skein of fingering weight yarn that wasn't sock yarn. And so I kind of had to go to the drawing board, and this pattern was perfect for it. But yeah, it's just a basic triangular shawl. There's not a whole lot complex about it. I do really like the stitch in the middle. You can't really see it because it is knit at quite a loose gauge, so you can see through it quite easily. But there is this star stitch detailing in the middle. and then mostly stocking that with evenly spaced out purl ridges throughout the rest of the shawl. And then there's this beautiful picot edge at the bottom that was fun to block and see come to life. I still don't really know how to wear a shawl like this. If it was bigger, I think I would find it a little easier because with bigger shawls, you can wrap around your shoulders. It can be kind of a cover up layering piece. But with a shawl like this, I guess the most common way to wear it would be wrapped around your neck. Like this, which I could get with a simple white shirt under and some jeans. I think it would be a cute outfit. What I do like about this yarn is that it's not itchy at all for a wool yarn. Merino is very soft, and so the skin around my neck is particularly sensitive compared to the rest of my body, and I generally don't like things on my neck at all, but especially not wool. But this is not irritating to the skin whatsoever. So I think I picked the perfect project for this yarn, and I'm happy with how it turned out. Very light and airy and drapey. And I'm excited to see how I can put this to use in the future. Next up is, I guess I'll tell you what I'm wearing. I didn't address that, but this is the Leafinity top. Okay, so this is the Leafinity top by Melanie Reinert. This I think is a relatively new pattern from her, and previously she had already come out with a pattern called the Leaf top, I believe, which is basically just like this. I'll stand up to show you, but oops, it's not an easy way to do this. It's basically like this top, but it has a button band in the middle, a button band detail, and obviously, as a result, it is knit flat, which I was not interested in doing, especially being so new to lace. And as you can probably tell, this is a fully lace pattern, front and back. It's really beautiful, and I'm proud of myself for how well this turned out. It's fully charted, so the lace pattern isn't written. So if this top is something you're interested in making, you pretty much have to read the chart to be able to achieve the pattern. It's just a series of increases, decreases, yarn overs. It really wasn't that difficult. You just have to pay attention to where you are in the pattern so you don't like offset any stitches or lose your place. But other than that, I got into the swing of it pretty easily, and I'm proud of myself because this pattern is classified as advanced. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's classified as an advanced pattern. I don't consider myself an advanced knitter, so going into it was a little apprehensive that it might be out of my scope of experience, but one stitch at a time. That's how I approach everything. Take it one stitch at a time, and eventually I've wound up with a really beautiful top that I'm so proud of. So the yarn I used Lion Brand Pima cotton in the color Mineral Yellow. I have quite a bit left over, so initially I bought 4 skeins of this yarn. Here's what it looks like. I love a good dusty yellow moment. I'm not a huge fan of like bright neon yellow, but I can get behind some dusty faded yellow. So here's the skein that I didn't open. So I used just over 2 skeins of this yarn. And I don't know what that amounts to cost wise, but I'll put it on the screen. But it's not very expensive. But I will say I did get this yarn on a 35% discount because I got a coupon code in my email from Lion Brand, and I couldn't resist. I think I mentioned that earlier. But when I share the prices, just a side note, when I do share the prices on the screen, I'm sharing the regular retail prices, because obviously with coupons and discounts, maybe not everyone who's watching will have access to the same coupons and discounts, or may have to buy it from somewhere else that doesn't offer the same coupons and discounts. And so to say how much I spent on it at a discount would, I don't think, give a realistic idea of what someone else might end up having to pay to achieve the same project, if that makes sense. So anytime I share prices, it's going to be full retail price based on how many skeins I broke into. So in this case, I broke into the 3rd skein, even though I didn't use much of it. So I will pop in the price of what 3 skeins of this yarn would cost to make this project. So yeah, mineral yellow. I didn't pay attention to dye lot. I'm not sure if they were all the same dye lot or not. It is a worsted weight 100% Pima cotton. I will say I did encounter a little difficulty casting this project on and getting into the first row of the lace pattern. It was just very fiddly for me. But once I got the hang of it, it was smooth sailing from there. And I also sized down 2 needle sizes from the recommended needle size in the pattern. And I think a big part of that is because I use metal needles, and cotton yarn is very slippery. So generally what I've seen is that people tend to use wooden or bamboo needles for cotton yarn, but metal is the only needles that I own. And I sized down 2 full needle sizes to get the gauge. But in the end, I achieved the project fine. So that's just something to think about. What else do I want to say? There's no type of shaping. So the front and the back are identical. The straps are simple I-cord straps. I think they're 4-stitch I-cord straps. The pattern says to repeat 3 or 4 times for the body, and I did repeat 4 times. Otherwise the 3 times I think would have been a little bit more cropped than I was wanting. And I also knit the size large. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I finished it just in time for my husband and I's 1-year wedding anniversary, so I was able to wear it that weekend as we did a staycation to celebrate. And oh, I did end up having to shorten the strap. So when I initially knit it, cotton, as many of us know, tends to droop and stretch out. And when I finished it initially, I was a little concerned that the straps were a little bit too low, but they were right at the edge of not being too uncomfortable for me. But obviously I wore it that weekend, and by the end of the weekend, it was just 80% nip slip risk was happening in the chest region. So I did last night actually take the time to pick out all of my neatly sewn ends and rip back maybe 10 or so I-cord rows and then reattach it. It was tedious, but it was worth it, and hopefully this will continue to fit like this going forward, which I think is a comfortable height for me. So yeah, let me know what you think if you've made this top or the leaf top, which is the button-up version. I'm so happy with how it turned out, and unfortunately we're at the tail end of summer, so I probably won't get a ton of use out of it, but I'm sure I will have this piece for years to come. So yeah. So the next project I made, and this is in no particular order, my friend is having a baby. And so of course I had to make some items for the baby boy who's due in December. So when she told me she was pregnant, my immediate next question, after I said congratulations, of course, was, okay, what are the color themes? Like, let me know. I need to buy some yarn. I need to make these baby gifts happen. And she didn't know at the time, but she eventually got back to me and she said that their color themes were shades of blue and green and pops of yellow. And from there I just ran with it, and I picked a baby blanket pattern. And so the pattern I picked was a Daisy Farm Crafts pattern. It's called the baby blanket pattern I used is called the Mesh Stitch Baby Blanket by Daisy Farm Crafts. Here is what it looks like. Can't really show it effectively in this format, but I do have pictures on my Instagram if you want to see what it looks like. But yeah, as you can see, we have some shades of gray and blue and green, and then the pops of this golden yellow color. Unfortunately, I did not save the yarn labels, and I don't remember what any of these colors are, but Caron Simply Soft is the yarn I used. So you can start there, and if you want to recreate this blanket, hopefully you're able to find the yarn. But the background color is white, just plain white. I think I used about 3 or 4 balls of the background color, and then I bought 1 ball for each of the accent colors. So it's probably 8 or 9 balls total that I put into this blanket. The way that the color blocks are created is using intarsia, I believe it's called, meaning that you have separate balls attached to the project for this section. So I had a ball for one end, ball for accent color 1, accent color 2, and then the white ball for the other end. And I would work the rows back and forth that way until the color block was completed. And so that was kind of fiddly and not my favorite part of the project, but it was broken up, so there wasn't entire like huge blocks of the project like that. It was broken up in 10 row increments for each section. And I'm so happy with how it turned out. And when I finished it, I wanted to save it as a surprise for my friend, but I got so excited and whatever, so I just sent her a picture to be like, this is how it turned out, please don't hate it. And she loved it, and she actually said the colors are perfect, and she sent me some stuff that they had gotten for the babies, and the colors were spot on. So very happy with how this turned out. And I do like the mesh stitch. It's just a series of single crochet and chain, and so it's very meditative and easy to get into a rhythm with it. The pattern is free. I believe all of Daisy Farm Craft patterns are free through their website, but you have the option to purchase the PDF, and I just worked from the free version on their website, and I didn't have any issues there. And the pattern does call for Caron Simply Soft, and that is the yarn I used. When I bought the yarn from Joanne, Joanne didn't have enough of the white color for me to make the whole blanket. So I ended up buying Lion Brand Pound of Love, which texture wise is a total night and day difference from Caron Simply Soft, and the blanket just was not going to turn out nice. And so unfortunately I have a mostly unused ginormous thing of Lion Brand Pound of Love that I have no idea what I'm going to do with. So I have to get to the drawing board on that. That was kind of a fail, but in the end, it was a successful project that I'm really happy with. And I hope the baby will have endless snuggles when the time comes. And so I had, as you can imagine, a lot of leftover yarn from the accent colors that I use in this blanket. But I wasn't really in the mood to make an entirely different blanket, which I did consider for a while, but I was more interested in making some stuff for myself or moving on to other projects. But I did end up making one more thing for the baby. Can you stand how cute this is? Oh my God. Listen, I have been afflicted by baby fever over the past, I would say, year or so. I don't know what's gotten into me, but I'm terrified at how adorable this is. So yeah, I used one of the blue accent colors from the blanket to just whip up this baby sweater. This is a cabled sweater, so the bottom portion is cabled, and that is a charted cabled pattern. So I guess I'm all about the charts lately, but it was pretty simple and straightforward to achieve, and I think it's great practice for cabling for my cabled pullover that I plan to knit to participate in the Heirloom Cable Knit Along hosted by Alexandra of November Woods Fiber Company. I'm pretty sure I got all that right. So if you want to knit a cable jumper, plan to, between now and the end of March of 2022, you may be wanting to hop in on that knit along action, because in the next couple months I will definitely be casting on my cable pullover and I'm so excited. Anyway, this is called the Garret, and it is a sweater by Tyga Hilliard, I believe is how you pronounce her name. I knit the 0 to 3 months, but the pattern goes from 0 months to 2 or 4T, which is a toddler size. It's a simple top-down raglan. This took me a few days to complete. I didn't bother with doing any type of special stretchy or sewn bind off on the sleeves. I just did a regular bind off. And this pattern does feature twisted rib at the collar, the cuffs, and at the bottom hem. And I honestly don't really like the look of twisted rib. I prefer regular 1x1 rib. I don't so much hate doing it, which is a complaint I hear people make quite often. I just don't like the way it looks. Let me know what you guys think. Do you prefer twisted rib or regular 1x1 rib? I'm curious to know. But I'm not really a fan of twisted. This is what I learned on this project. But it's cute for what it is. I followed the pattern to the T. I haven't blocked it. I don't know if I will, but if I do, I'll steam block it really quickly, just to open up this collar area so it doesn't cinch into the side like that. But yeah, I hope it fits, but it's really cute. I did run out of steam at some point. I wanted to make stuff for myself, to be honest. So I could have done it faster if I wasn't so meh about it. And work was also crazy too. When I'm super stressed out, I really lose my mojo a little bit, and that happened a few times over the past month and a half. But it's done. We like it. Moving on. Oh, I did make a little beanie for the baby, mainly because I got some the small circumference interchangeable circulars from Chiaogu, and I wanted to try them out. But I don't know if I'll actually throw this in the gift package. I might as well. But yeah, that was just a random extra make I made with some more of that leftover yarn. I have quite a bit of it still, so I had to figure out what to do with it. But yeah, moving right along. Last but not least, I made another sweater. So I got selected. I think I applied a while back and I forgot I applied, but anyway, I got selected to preview knit for the fall pattern releases for Brooklyn Tweed. It was so cool. When I got that email, I was like, so excited. For one, I'd always wanted to try Brooklyn Tweed yarn and I hadn't. Two, Brooklyn Tweed yarn is expensive, and preview knitting allows you a discount on their yarn. And so that was a very welcome benefit. And so what they did was they invited me to preview knit, and they sent me pretty much a catalog of all of the patterns and or yarns that I could preview knit for them. And I was tasked with selecting one that I wanted to make, and from there, that's kind of what kicked off the process. Yeah, what else can I say about the process? There were a wide range of patterns to choose from. So there was a good mix of sweaters and other garments and accessories. And I wanted to make a sweater, but the deadline, which wasn't really a deadline, I wasn't sure if I would be able to knit the sweater fast enough. Spoiler alert, I did knit the sweater in about 2.5 weeks, which is a record for me, especially considering that the yarn I use is DK weight yarn and there are long sleeves. So I'm impressed with myself. I don't know if you're impressed, but I didn't think I was that fast of a knitter. So yeah, that timing wasn't even an issue. So in the brochure that they provided with all of the patterns we could choose to preview knit, it also had the release date of the patterns, right? So we were not under any deadline to complete the pattern ahead of the release date or by the release date, but we were under obligation to share about the project on social media, even if it's a whip, share, drum up, really just drumming up interest in the pattern or the yarn, right? So that's kind of the point of preview knitting. These patterns had already been test knitted, so I didn't have to submit any notes about, or, you know, look for errors or typos or anything like that. It is in its perfect final state by the time it gets to the preview knitters. And so that makes it a little easier in that regard. And the fact that we don't have to have it done by the deadline made it easier. And so I was like, bet, I'm in. I was excited from day one. I was very, very pumped for this. I agonized over what pattern to select for an embarrassing amount of time. So yeah, and then picking colors was just a whole different situation, but I digress. I ended up preview knitting the Veasey Sweater, which I believe comes out on September 15th, which I don't know if this will be before or after I get this video up, but just so you know, it is a top-down raglan V-neck sweater, all stockinette, and it has the striping along the neckline and at the cuffs with 2 different accent colors. This pattern was designed for Brooklyn Tweed Arbor, which is oh, actually I have a full skein left here. Here's what it looks like in the hank. This is the color Burnished, which is the main color I used. It is 100% American Targhee wool, DK weight, etc., etc. Yeah, the 2 accent colors I used are Arabesque, which is a tan color. When I ordered it, I thought it was more in cream. But yeah, it's really pretty. And then the other accent color is Dorado. Oh, do we love or do we love? The sample was knit and basically the same colors. The only color that was different was where I used Dorado and they used like a dark plum color. Part of it was me being influenced because I do love this color. The other part of it is that a lot of the colors on their website was sold out or low stock. And so this is one of the few colors that I felt comfortable wearing that they had in stock at the time I ordered my yarn. I did a Italian sewn bind off on the edges of all the ribbing areas. Give you a close up of the neck. I think it provides a really clean finish. And I'm also really proud of my job at picking up stitches along the neckline. Which is generally not something I enjoy doing. And I didn't enjoy it this time either, but at least it turned out nicely. I mean, it always turns out pretty nicely, but I didn't have to redo it multiple times. I got it perfectly pretty much on the first try. There is some short row shaping in this pattern. So there is, I don't know how well you may be able to see it here, but there's short row shaping at the top or at the neck and the back, and there's short row shaping at the bottom. And and it's very subtle but effective. What else can I say? Oh, I used 7 skeins of the main color. I'll pop in what that cost equates to, but bear in mind that Brooklyn tweed is not cheap. It's definitely more on the expensive side. And obviously I only needed 1 skein of the 2 accent colors. And I knit the size 4, which is for a 45-inch bust size. I think my bust is around the 39-inch range. So I gave myself about 6 inches of positive ease. Here's a swatch I knit, if anyone cares to see that. I did try my hand at swatching in the round, which I didn't end up meeting gauge with that needle size, but I didn't find it very enjoyable, and I don't plan to knit in the round or knit a swatch in the round anymore. Maybe that will bite me in the butt one day, but for now I'm okay with just knitting flat swatches. Ooh, speaking of swatches, yeah, that's all I have to say about the Veasey. I love it, 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 love it. I would definitely wear this to work. And as an aside, okay, so when I finished this, I was like, I would so wear this to work. We're scheduled to go back to the office in January, so it'll be the perfect season for a wool sweater. And I was thinking like, wow, I want to make more stuff that I can wear to work. And so I am in the process of organizing a knit along. I will share more details about that later. I'm not gonna say anything more about it now, but stay tuned. And I hope you guys will join in on the make along. All right, okay. So that's everything I finished since I last recorded. But I wanted to talk briefly about a new cast on. I haven't actually cast it on, to be fair, but I did finish my gauge swatch last night, and here it is. Yeah, so this is more Lion Brand Pima cotton, just in a different colorway. So this is the color Spice, which I really like. Now originally with this yarn, I wanted to make the mangrove tee, but I'll pop a picture of what that looks like. I just thought it was a little bit too ornate, and I wasn't sure I would be interested. Leo, stop. In that, like I'm not sure if that would have ended up fitting into my wardrobe. So I decided to go with something a little simpler. I have not cast this project on. Like I said, I just did the swatch, but this will probably, by the next time I sit down and record, be a complete Thea top. I can't remember the designer's name, but I'll pop the information on the screen. So yeah, that's what I have in the works right now. I'm kind of in between projects. Okay, so last but not least, I went to a new local yarn store. So I am in Chicago, and there's a new local yarn store in the south side of the city, which is where I live, called Miss Purl. And I've been following her journey from like when she initially announced it to her grand opening. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend, but she did host a Purl talk last night actually, where I was able to finally meet her in person and learn a lot about yarns and pairing yarns with projects and things of that nature. So it was pretty informative. I brought my mom with me. My mom wants to learn how to knit now, which I'm so excited. I'm so excited about that. But I bought a little bit of yarn, just a little bit. I wouldn't consider it to be a lot. To be fair, she sold a lot in her opening weekend. So I suspect that the selection is not as good as it was on day one. But I did snatch up a few goodies. So It's just sock yarn. It's really all just sock yarn. I got 2 skeins of this KFI collection, Indulgence 4-ply superwash virgin wool sock yarn. I got that in 2 different colors. So this one I plan to make a pair of socks for my mom, and this one will be for me most likely, or a gift for someone in my family. This is Distortion Fibers sock yarn, and I actually met the dyer. She was at the event last night. Isn't it so pretty? Oh my gosh. I've said this before, but I'm not generally a fan of hand-dyed yarn, but when it comes to socks, I'm all for it. I am all for it. I don't know if the color has a name. If it does, it's not written. Oh, Seaweed. It's called Seaweed. Ah, we love it. I have no idea when I will cast on a new pair of socks. I'm planning some projects for Christmas gifts in the coming months. So I imagine my time will be focused on that, but yeah, I'm itching to cast on a sock, so I may do that soon. And then I got some more sock yarn. This is by Knit & Bro. And it is called a hot chocolate. That's the color. These are all fingering weight superwash nylon blend sock yarns. That's what I got. I also got some needle stoppers, and she threw in a free tape measure and a custom Miss Purl sticker, but I don't have those with me right now. Other than that, that's it. I think this will be a short one. I think that is everything. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing, commenting, liking, sharing, all the things. I have really enjoyed this journey so far, and I'm excited to see what is to come. But I will just say, stay tuned to this space to learn more about the make-along that will be coming up and the prizes that you could potentially win for participating. But I hope everyone has a great day. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to talk to you again soon. Bye.